Hi everyone, I'm Billy, and today we will talk about a common belief when choosing a knife. Some customers come asking for the hardest knife. They think that a hard knife means a better knife. And the short answer, yes and no. It depends. But first, let us explore the concept behind hardness and why it matters when it comes to choosing a suitable knife. What does toughness mean for a material? It means the material can take on weight and deform plastically without breaking apart. A hard object does not equal a tough object. Using a brick as an example, a brick can be compressed, but it will not bend. The stress cannot be released, and it will crack when overloaded. On the other side, these rubber bands have no hardness to speak of. They will simply stretch when you pull them. The material itself also releases stress, hence it is less likely for them to break. During the forging of a knife, the blade undergoes quenching, modifying the structure to gain hardness. However, it sacrifices its flexibility in exchange for hardness. The harder the metal, the more brittle it becomes. That's why it has to go through tempering to regain some of its flexibility. Otherwise, it would be simply too dangerous when a piece of sharp metal breaks off flying when compressed. Knife manufacturers have to first consider the purpose of the knife and pick a suitable metal and hardness for the product. In other words, a hard knife does not equal a good knife. Depending on the purpose of the knife, the balance of hardness and toughness becomes important. For example, a Western fillet knife needs to be more flexible in order to follow the bone during its cut. If the blade is hard, it might break during the process. Yet, such a flexible knife will still break if it's under too much stress, as shown by Gordon Ramsay in this video. Therefore, it is important to note that the blade's hardness is dictated by its purpose and material, not a gauge for the knife's cutting performance. Also, the user needs to understand the limitations of his knife. A good knife depends on many other factors, like the blade geometry, the bevel angle, the finishing grit, and most importantly, what food you are cutting. Are you cutting vegetables? Consider getting a nakili, a santoku, or a banka. Are you trimming and portioning big meat cuts? Try sujihiki. Its length can allow you to achieve cuts in a single stroke. Doing a bit of both? Maybe consider getting a gyoto, an all-purpose chef knife. Butchering and slicing fish a lot? A deba is suitable for deboning a fish and a yanagiba for finely sliced fish fillet. Are you taking out bones from a chicken? Try a honazuki. Its narrow tip can help you navigate through chicken bones easier. What happens when you use something out of place? For example, a bone cleaver will split vegetables like carrots, potatoes, and smear spring onions or chives. Hence, it may not be too suitable for making fine cuts. However, it would be perfect for cleaving bones because of its high bevel angle, robustly built spine, and heavy weight, giving it extra strength when crushing bones. To be extreme, if you sharpen a steel ruler, the cutting performance for the first few cuts is excellent. This sharpness wouldn't last long, however, because the steel is too soft, despite low resistance during cutting. The benefit of having a hard knife is that it can withstand extensive uses, assuming the user has good practices like avoiding scraping chopping boards and using the entire length of their knife. A harder blade means the edge will not roll over easily, wear away slower, and stay sharp for longer. As the knife comes into contact with the chopping board during every cut, the edge will wear out eventually and require sharpening. You will have to sharpen more if your knife is made of softer steel, compounded if you are working in a professional kitchen with a huge workload. This is the reason why professional users are more inclined to believe the idea that a harder knife is better, so that it stays sharp for longer. In this case, a harder knife is a better knife. However, sharpening less frequently doesn't mean it's easier to sharpen. Using HAP40 as an extreme example, it is a high-speed tool steel that can reach an HRC of up to 68. In comparison, VG10 is only around 60 and SG2 is around 62 to 63. Steel like this demands good equipment like ceramic stone or diamond plate to remove materials and reshape the bevel by hand effectively. It also takes a lot of effort and time to reshape it when it becomes dull. Therefore, it may not be suitable for newcomers or for those who are not confident in sharpening. If the steel of your knife is hard and thinly tapered, the edge will last longer and lower cutting resistance, resulting in a really good feeling of sharpness. However, the knife would also be brittle and may break easily if mishandled. This demands the user to be more experienced and understand the limitations of their knife. Some steel manufacturers tinker with new alloy recipes on the market like VG Sales and SPG Strix, which the latter claims to be easier to sharpen despite having a higher hardness. Not many tests have been done on it, but it's exciting nonetheless to see even more better materials coming to the market. We hope that this video can give you more information on why hardness is not the major determining factor when choosing a suitable knife. If you are interested to know more, feel free to follow or contact us through Instagram, Facebook, or here on YouTube. Better yet, feel free to pay us a visit. We offer an assortment of Japanese knives, as well as custom-made saya, handles, chopping boards, or other kitchen accessories. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.